And then he tried to be a smart aleck a little bit because the original quote that I signed was like a monthly payment. I'm going to say 577 or 477. His payment was like $6 less, but I didn't remember what I signed to in the first place. So then he shows me, it's like, oh, well, it's actually $6 less. You want me to find something to add on to make it $6 more? So it's what you like, chill out.
Oh, so you'd be a little sarcastic. Oh, yeah. Man.
I was like, give me the paper and let me be.
Where's he from? New York?
It's totally the New York personality. High energy. I remember those days. How's it going, guys? It is like full on spring here. It's 40 something degrees. It's beautiful outside. What's going on in New York and New York?
Yeah, it's starting to get there. New York likes to pull the wool over our eyes a lot. It'll pretend like it's spring. So I'm still waiting for the punchline. But yeah, 40s and 50s. So we're coming out of this. We're coming out of the doom and gloom.
What about you, Dave?
More importantly than the weather is that we got the Google ads working. We got physician marketing working. I'm amped up, and it's great to be joined with you guys this morning.
All right. So here's the deal. I was just working on a post before you guys came on. I want to talk about the U.S. physical therapy quarterly results that came out yesterday. But I was working on a Facebook post. I was like, leads versus referrals. Dave, I got my first official lead last night. So I usually when I'm putting Facebook ads, and I've just started doing this, I'm like, all right, $1 a day. $1.50 a day. I've never gotten a lead. So now I did what Dave did. I cranked it up. I said, all right, $20 a day. And I got a lead that came in last night, came in 11 p.m. I was clearly in bed. So now I'm like, oh man, leads. That means I need to start replying. That means I need to talk to humans. What the heck? What world do we live in?
Oh my God. You sound like a teenager these days. Like I have to talk to humans. I have to put my tablet down.
You know what? I'm working on changing our outgoing voicemail to say, if you're a new patient calling, just leave me a message with your name, telephone number, time and date you want for an evaluation, and we will confirm that. Like, I don't even want to talk to somebody. Hey, David's here. All right. But yeah, no, anyway, so lead came in last night. I just got on with ChatGPT before you guys jumped on. I was like, hey, what do I do? What do I say? So ChatGPT gave me a good response. I emailed the lead. I do have the phone number, so I will see what happens, but I wanted to get on here with you guys. Any thoughts about that real quick, Dave? I know you're a man for the phone, man. Get him on, talk to him.
Get him on the phone, baby. Lead flow first. Then monetizing the lead flow, which would be converting some of them. And then kind of like either they stay with the core service, they stay, you kind of move them into some of the insurance-based physical therapy or whatever. But, or maybe it's you monetize the lead flow by doing insurance PT, then referring them to the SoftWave or whatever the self-pay service is. But yeah, lead flow first, right? So I need to see X amount of names and numbers and folks coming in, making sure that the ad works and, people are opting in and all that. So yeah, got to get them on the phone if you're trying to sell something for $500 or whatever you're selling.
Did you get a chance to see that post I shared where I said I was focusing on patients who they have
commented,
to...
I commented on it on LinkedIn. Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. Tell me why. I figured most therapists wouldn't.
Let's see. Okay, so your post, you posted on LinkedIn, and it said you get around 3 to 5 referrals a month for patients who they want to get an MRI, but their insurance requires 6 weeks of PT before approval. And long story short, you wrote a pretty good. Did you use ChatGPT? This is a pretty good ad, though.
Yeah.
So, Tony wrote this ad: insurance delaying your MRI. We have a solution. Your doctor ordered an MRI, but your insurance says you have to do 6 weeks of PT. That's frustrating, right? Like, Tony's speaking right to that demographic. And Tony said, if you take Tony's route, if you contact him, if you go to his clinic, they have a proprietary evaluation process that might qualify you for an MRI in just a few days. If PT isn't right for you, Tony and his team will generate a detailed report to justify your MRI in as quickly as 24 hours. I'm curious as to how that's even possible when you have no say in the insurance decisions. If PT is appropriate, Tony and his team will start treatment immediately so you can start feeling better now. And I commented, the problem with this type of patient is that they are not your ideal clientele. They won't ever become a raving fan, most likely. And therefore, they cannot assist you in any word of mouth marketing. So, Tony, what's the point? You talked about in the post trying to meet the people where they're at.
Yeah.
You can't meet other populations and other avatars where they're at. Like, of course you can, right? So why wouldn't you go after people who have failed a bunch of procedures and all that, and they've never tried SoftWave, and they're not looking to do PT, but they're like, I'll pay $500 for SoftWave, and that person is not looking to just use you to do the insurance hurdle to get an MRI.
Yeah. So my reply, and to this community, I'll be more direct. My reply there was more the politically correct thing to say. The reality is, it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's the easiest thing in the world. Like, I literally use HippoScribe as my AI scribe. A person like that comes in the door. I'm not expecting to do a full plan of care. If I can, sense any interest in doing more, I will. But guys, I've been in this 20 plus years. Like, this is a situation where they're scared. They expect me to paralyze them. They can't even believe that their insurance company is refusing to do an MRI. How can you treat me if you don't know what's wrong with me? Guys, the reality is the MRI isn't going to give me anything useful, but I'm not going to change their religion. I'm not going to change their political view, and I'm not going to change their perspective on what they need. But what I can do is I can scratch that itch. I know nobody wants to see these referrals because therapists want to treat patients. There's a need in the market there. So come to me. We'll spend 20 minutes. We'll talk. I'll identify all of the concerns. I'll identify the case history. I'll get everything we need. And assuming it's true, I'm going to say you are not an appropriate referral for physical therapy. I'll give the reasons why you're not an appropriate referral for physical therapy. And in my experience, almost every single time, that's all the insurance needs was justification. You went to a physical therapist. The physical therapist made the determination you are not a therapy candidate. And then you go get your MRI. That's what the surgeon wants. That's what the patient wants. And as long as it's within my, determination, which it generally is, it works. It works to their advantage. So they can sit on a wait list for 3 or 4 weeks, go to a hospital base, which everybody here is hospital owned except us. Then they have to suffer through 6 weeks. They usually barely do 1 session a week. They usually cancel 2 or 3 of those sessions. Like, it is the worst referral for most therapy clinics, but I don't care. I embrace what they need.
I love you, Tony. I love you. But here's why it's an absolutely terrible idea. Because you're paying for ads. Let's say Facebook. You're paying for Facebook. You're paying for Facebook ads. Maybe you're not. Okay, but it's either time or effort. It's either time and effort or money, right? So you're either spending, I don't know, you're going to write posts on social media organically for your Total Therapy Solutions Facebook page. Okay, maybe that doesn't take a lot of time. Okay, fine. And then you schedule out posts to go out every day or whatever. Probably not that much time. Okay. But let's just say if you or someone was watching or listening, I'm telling you, if you're watching or listening, do not do this, because these individuals are looking to come to Tony for what? 1 or 2 visits?
No. One 20-minute visit, no exercise, no treatment, nothing other than maybe a little education, a little encouragement. They're in and out in 20 minutes. There's
instead of 6 weeks of PT.
Yeah.
Okay. So if a practice owner was if they read this, like even Urson Rehelioso, was like, this is genius, this is a great ad. People were like, Jerry Durham was like, brilliant, blah, blah, blah. It's not brilliant if you're running paid media. It's not brilliant if you're running paid ads to this type of campaign, because the person is only coming in for 1 visit. So there's no lifetime value of that patient that converts to then pay back for the paid media.
But if this is generating, let's just say roughly $120 in 20 minutes, how do you not see that as, something that's profitable enough
maybe it is, but I'm looking for the reason why I'm spending like a cannonball's worth of money this month and in general is because I know I'm going to like, it's like a whole funnel thing, but like we're going to find one or two people and they're going to spend $10,000 to $60,000 with us. Right. So that recoups like multiple months, sometimes 3 to 6 months worth of paid ads. So then all the other patients I get in that whole cycle of time, those people I basically acquire for free from a paid channel. So my winners cover all the leads that don't convert. But with this, you're not playing with a lot of margin. Like you got, okay, one visit, they drop off, you discharge them, whatever, after one visit. Is it efficient? Yes. You're making $120 for a 20-minute eval? Yes. But then you got to have your marketing machine going, cranking like crazy to get all these new people in. It takes administrative work to like get their insurance verified, get them scheduled. Do they actually show up? Some show up, some no show, some come in late, whatever. Like you need more people. You need more people to actually make this like work on like some bigger scale.
I'll tell you, I mean, again, in my experience, they always show up because this is their ticket to a quick MRI and the solution they want. They're always willing to pay the copay or the co-insurance. Is one of those things where it really is low-hanging fruit. And right now, while I have the capacity to do it, I do think it's a positive investment. Plus, this is one of those things where I don't think I've done any paid ads toward it. I think this has enough impact that it will get organic reach. So it just seems like a win-win all around. And I will say, I do find that once they come in very combative, very distrustful, very fearful, they get the report, they get the MRI, usually they get the surgery, they come back a completely different person. So when they do come
back, so that is where the lifetime value of that person is expanded if they come back to you for post-surgical rehab.
Yeah.
So some of them.
Yeah.
What percentage? 50? 25?
Oh, no. Yeah, I would say more in like the 20-25% come back for follow-up care.
So like the rest of them, they go to some hospital-based?
No, they just don't go. The rest of them have no interest ever in therapy.
So it could be almost a lead generator to get more post-surgical clients, but you have to wait so much, like whatever amount of time, weeks or months, for them to be, reactivated after the surgery. 25% of them come back in. I don't see it, Tony. Also, let's say I'm trying. Maybe I'm being too doom and gloom, but like, let's say Jeremy comes to you, your PTA comes to you in like a year, and is like, I'm really like, I feel like all of our patients are just kind of in and out, or like he doesn't even see them because you do the 20-minute eval. So, am I wrong by judging or assuming that the folks that are coming for this would not be a great patient that feeds your culture and your environment, like the Cheers type patient, your older patient who reads the joke books, and why other patients want to come and they all talk to each other? Does the person that you're attracting with this potential ad and this approach, do they fit into that culture in your outpatient office or no?
No, not generally. And this is, to Samuel's point, like, yes, there's a potential for post-op referral coming back. They usually do if they're going to do therapy. But to your point, this is the transactional side of the business. This is the one and done, baby. Like, let's go automate it. This is the gap in the market that nobody is filling, that I could fill pretty quickly, pretty easily, especially when I bring AI into it. There's very little administrative hassle. There's very little, like, we have greased those wheels very well. If I grow the other side of it, the self-pay services, the premium services, why would I do that? I'm not going to do that. But for now, for where we are, plus, for everybody here, I go back to, I just like to experiment. I like to see what happens. I like to throw the spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks. And it's just one of those things. It's just fun. Someone out there somewhere needs people. They're desperately seeking people more than me. And so if this is a strategy that works and helps that person listening go from 0 to 1 or 0 to 10, and then they can build the rest of their business on it, I did my job. I did my job and I had fun doing it. Let's hit the U.S. physical therapy numbers real quick. So nothing really major. It was one of those deals where I think they missed, the target. They didn't make as much money as they wanted to make. But the thing that I wanted everybody to see, and what I'll do is I'll share this link to this article across all the whoever's watching anywhere. But the thing is, I always like this from USPT. They publish their numbers, and if you look at the bottom of this chart, I know it's hard to see, it says net rate per visit. So their net rate, how much revenue they're bringing per visit, $104.73 as of Q4 2004. That's up from Q4 2003. Used to be 103, now it's 104. Total patient visits they have, average visits per clinic. So they're doing 31 visits per clinic. Doesn't give us a lot of detail. You can go back and look at how many clinics and stuff. The salaries and related costs per visit, $63. So they're generating $104.73 per visit. It costs them $63 per visit. Operating costs total, that includes, I think, the salaries, $86.72. So, there's not a lot there. 18% gross margin. But I always use these numbers to determine, hey, where am I on the big picture? Where am I in the big scheme of things? And Dave, to your point, your margins are a little bit better, right? But, this is a big company. I mean, they're doing 1 million visits in a quarter, 1.4, I think, million visits in a quarter. So it's all relative. I just like seeing this and saying, I'm probably better than 86%. My cost is less than 86%, but not much. I mean, we've got some serious thin margins even in my business.
I think I mentioned it a week or two ago, but I'm having more physical therapists reaching out to me about how to, or the prospect of us kind of all grouping together, almost like a Jeff Moore type approach with Onward Health. And I don't know, do you think, Tony, can a out of network self-pay practice, let's say in the next, 10 years, could there be a practice that is charging, let's say they're mostly out of pocket or out of network. So let's say their revenue, whatever it was, like the net, what was the 104? What was the metric? $104. That was their net income
104
or revenue per visit. Could there be a company that does over 1 million visits in the United States across the country that their revenue per visit is like $200? Because it would be mostly out of pocket or out of network insurances. Is that, you think it's possible or no?
Yeah, 100%. I think so. It's just I would bet if you tease out the numbers for workers' comp and personal injury, if you go down that road, you're going to hit those kinds of numbers at scale. Just think about how many personal injury, workers' comp referrals are across the country. I don't know. I know there are some big companies that focus in that area. I don't think there are any public companies that focus in that area, but generally the average rate is going to go way up.
I gotta admit, when I worked outpatient ortho, a couple of different jobs years ago, I was not a fan of the no fault MVA workers comp type population because they'll say things like, "Oh well, I'm 10 out of 10 pain."
Right.
My lawyer told me to say 10 out of 10 pain no matter what.
Yeah, they're incentivized to stay disabled. It is very challenging. That's why I don't pursue that. There are great referrals in there, but at scale, oh man. But this goes back to, I think I told you years ago, there was a guy in Sarasota who created this full network of personal injury and it, he had vans, he had TV commercials, 1-800-ASK-GARY. I believe it, was a network of chiropractors and lawyers and all of this stuff. And he owned the most expensive house on Siesta Key. There's huge money in that if you're willing to go down that road. And it goes back to these individuals need services just as much as everybody else. His son, I'm pretty sure this is the same family. His son went on to create the Siesta Key MTV Live, show that aired, the reality show. So it's a small world. Real quick, they also said, I thought this was interesting. Let me bring this back up. It says, we continue to work on the cost side of the business, which is largely people driven, i.e., we need to bring down salary because we're not paying for all these people.
That's the problem, right? Because if you're able to, like, there's like mine and other cash practices or out of network / self-pay or whatever you want to call it. You can charge whatever you want to charge, and therefore you can pay whatever physical therapists want to make, assuming that they're great and they have great clinical chops and they're motivated and they're hungry to, treat patients and treat patients who want to be treated and get better. And then some of them pay cash pay services or the modalities and the soft waves. Some of them you transition to, remote therapeutic monitoring, which I'm not a fan of, but also remote programming, which people can pay out of pocket for, pay $2,500 for 6 months or whatever, and write up their programs and follow along as almost like a health coach remotely. That's another way to, for self-pay.
Says we're a people-centric company. This has proven to be our greatest challenge.
Of course.
We are a people-centric company, and this has proven to be our greatest challenge. And one where we are not yet satisfied with our results. To that end, we're piloting several initiatives which we believe will be impactful on cost and labor efficiency. We expect 2025 to be solid growth with these initiatives, continued record demand for our services. We can't afford to pay the humans that want to be in our business. Get out of here. AI is going to replace you. Automation is going to replace you. I don't know. Maybe we see government workers that have been fired over the last couple months and future months. Maybe they're going to become available, but you know what? I don't think any of us want to hire an angry government worker to come work in our business either. So I don't know where the humans are going to come from.
A government worker who happens to be a physical therapist?
No. I just mean with all the cuts and all the downsizing, and we're going to see 1 million available IRS agents and other government workers who are now unemployed, but I can't afford to hire them.
Yeah. Well, so my takeaway with that last paragraph you shared with the report is that, this is USPH. They're an in-network insurance-based model. So there's a cap on, it's like a broken record. There's a cap on the insurance payment. And so therefore there's kind of like a ceiling or a cap on what they can pay their therapists. I kind of find it wild that year over year, everyone knows it's an issue, but it's like, how can USPH be in existence in 10 or 20 years, or any of these big companies? Is it possible? Because what are they going to do, Tony, when people, everything, it doesn't matter who's president or whatever, there's going to be higher cost of living, rent, the new car that you just bought, that's going to be more expensive in 10 years, rent, housing, eggs, milk, everything, utilities, everything's going to be more expensive in 10 years or 20 years. So liability insurance, license credential, everything's going to be more expensive. So how can a big company like this, they're just going to continue to get compressed until what happens?
I think they're going to go the route of airlines. They're going to go to, a Frontier and Allegiant. You're going to get charged for every piece of TheraBand. You're going to get charged for every washcloth. You're going to get charged extra if you want me to wipe down the treatment table.
Every electrode, or you can use the same electrode that the last 20 patients used for free.
I do. So yesterday I shared the videos about Joseph Lowe, friend of the podcast. He's got these resistance tubing sets. We buy them from him, get a group of 5 packages, and then you resell them to the consumer. And I think it's just, I'm working on the email sequencing right now. So you book an eval with me for tomorrow, you get a welcome email. And within that welcome email, you get a link to buy the equipment you need for your physical therapy. And it's a $30 to $50 purchase. You get a 20% discount if you buy it before your initial evaluation. If you click on the buy link, you pay me. I'll have it ready for you when you arrive. And then this is the equipment you're going to need to do your therapy. Like little things like that, I think it's not huge, but at scale, if we can add a $5, $10, $15 profit to the visit, I think that's where you're going to make up the margin. But just, we can't give away all the stuff that we've given away for, the 100 years we've been a profession. How long have we been a profession? We knew this number at one time.
I don't know. Jimmy,
yeah. If you're listening, if you're watching, comment. When did physical therapy? Was it reconstruction aids? When did we get established as a profession? Tell me in the chat. Since you're in the premium world, you want to talk about the car buying experience and maybe what we can take away for physical therapy?
Absolutely.
All right. When was the last time you bought a car?
We just got a new car lease last year. I forget which month, but in 2024.
Okay, so tell me about it. Why did you choose the car you choose? What was it like going in there, signing the paper, like the good, the bad, the ugly?
Yeah, our previous lease, I think, we went from Buick Encore.
Why do you lease instead of purchase?
When I drive, I want the newer car experience of like when we drive, like I don't want, other than a flat tire, like I don't want to have like a car breakdown. I don't have the time to deal with that. Call AAA, like, dashboard issues, whatever, some random pinging in the engine. So I pay. Leasing. It's like it's like a rental. It's like a long-term rental, right? So like I'm renting. I was paying I think $289 a month or something for this couple different Buick Encore leases. I want the certainty and the performance. I don't really care about the aesthetic, but I guess like it's nice to drive something that, is safe for us. And now with the baby is like even more important, right? So something that's safe, that has, newer tires and newer everything for safety. And then also when you go to get out of the car, meaning when you go to sell it or whatever, like I don't want to sell a vehicle. I do not want to, and I think of that stuff down the road. I don't want to schedule, these tire kickers literally that come and that, you gotta sit in the car with them and they gotta test drive your car. And I mean, what a waste of time. Like I could do other things in the practice in the business that are better for my time. So like, I just want to turn this car in from the 39 months or whatever, 36 or 39 months or whatever. And then I get to, test drive another one for 1 or 2 minutes. And then like, yeah, this is good. This is like the similar thing that we previously had. It's fine. So does that make sense? I pay for like some of the safety features, that something that's newer, something that is a certain size so it can fit in our garage and, all that type of stuff. So that's why we do financing and lease instead of buying outright.
Yeah, that's what you usually hear, and so some similarities, some differences. Like for us, we keep cars forever. And even when we're done with a car, we hand it down to a niece or a nephew who needs a car. So, I had my 2005 Acura for 15 years and then I gave it to one of my nephews. I had a 2001 Highlander and then I gave it to one of my nephews. 2001 Highlander, and it's still in use today. Like that nephew then passed it down to one of his younger brothers. My Acura is still in the family. So like with this experience, and I always think, okay, what can I take away from my physical therapy business? I've been a Toyota guy forever. Like forever. I've always had Toyotas. This is the first time I'm stepping
the Toyota way.
Yeah. First time I'm stepping out of Toyota. And so with that, I'm like, all right, we're looking, you can hardly find a good used car anymore. I don't mind the maintenance. I don't mind the other stuff. So for us, it's affordability. I was looking to give my 16-year-old my Highlander, which was a 2010. And, a wave of Subarus came through our family recently. And I was like, okay, well, let's go check it out. Like it kills me that I'm buying a Subaru, but I don't want to pay the premium for a Toyota or, either. So we go out, we check it out. I went back and I looked. I started at the end of December looking at cars. That was the first contact with the Subaru sales rep, the end of December. Then, we step away, the holidays and all the other stuff. We get a couple of text messages back and forth. He was the most laid back, chill, no pressure salesperson I've ever met, but got ruined by his finance guy. And that's what I want to talk about. So I go in there, we take a look, we test drive 2 or 3 cars, not really super impressed. Plus it was a 4.9% finance rate. So I was like, I don't want to pay that much money right now. So we put it off, back burner. Now my kid's doing more activities. We're like struggling to handle 3 drivers with 2 cars. The pain got enough for me. This is the thing. It had to become painful enough that it pushed me back into the dealership. The dealer did nothing to bring me back in. So I go back and I'm texting him and I'm like, hey, we found this, now the 2024 is 1.9%.
Weird.
Before we were looking at 4.9%. So we do the calculations. We're like, we get more car. It's got a more reliable history on the 2024 than me changes for the 25. All right, we go in. We're like, we're going to come. We're going to buy it. We sign the papers. The guy puts me into the finance department. My guy, the sales guy, chill, relaxed, totally calm. Finance guy is like off the charts, like anxiety and shaky. And, he's one of these guys that's like super pumped, big muscles, big face, like just, you're going to do this and you're going to do that and come on with me. And all of a sudden, speaking a million miles an hour. And everybody's defensive going in to buy a new car, just like a lot of patients are defensive coming into the physical therapy clinic. I go back there. He starts throwing all these numbers at me for upsells. And I'm like, no, I don't want any of that. He tries to make it a little jokey, but not in a good way. I was about 3 seconds from just getting up and walking out the door. And he was like, all right, I get it. Nothing extra. And then he tried to be a smart aleck a little bit because the original quote that I signed was like a monthly payment. I'm going to say $577 or $477. His payment was like $6 less. But I didn't remember what I signed to in the first place. So then he shows me, it's like, oh, well, it's actually $6 less. You want me to find something to add on to make it $6 more? So it's what you like, chill out.
Oh, so you'd be a little sarcastic. Oh, yeah. Man.
I was like, give me the paper and let me be.
Where's he from? New York?
It's totally the New York personality. High energy. I remember those days. But I will say when I go to buy a Toyota versus going to buy a Subaru, it's a pretty different experience. Toyota has the nice showroom. Everything is clean. Everything is shiny, free drinks, free snacks. Like I go to Subaru and it's kind of dingy, kind of dirty. It's like the salespeople aren't as refined as they are at Toyota. Even when we went to Honda, it was completely, a different experience. But with that, you save a couple $1,000, you do get some advantages for being willing to go to a lower price point. And it's the same thing in my clinic. I've seen clinics that are just phenomenal, beautiful, like high end finishes on everything. You come here, there's a tear in the seat. Maybe this doesn't work as well as it should, but it's still functional. I'm the Subaru right now of therapy compared to the Lexus and the Acura and the higher end offerings. But I still think we could learn a lot with the continuity. He kept reaching out to me. He kept texting me. So he didn't let me completely disappear.
When you were at Subaru, did the sales guy, anyone on the front end, did they pull it out of you where you said, oh, well, I had a wave of Subarus in the family and I heard about positive this, that, whatever? They didn't pull that out of you?
No, and that's what drives me crazy. So I'm sitting here reverse engineering all this, and I'm talking to my sales guy while we're waiting for the finance guy. And I'm like, hey, why aren't you on social media? He's a young guy, 24, 26. I'm like, why aren't you on TikTok? Like, I see other car guys on TikTok. He's like, oh no, I'm too embarrassed. And I was like, how many cars do you sell a month? And I think he said, I'm going to say 12. So I was like, you could be doing double that if you just did any kind of social media. So I don't know if you saw, that's when I went on. I took the picture of me, the business card, the Subaru sign in the back. I was like, look, you can do this in 10 seconds. Boom, 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 done. I was like, I would have a selfie stick. I would ring a bell. I would celebrate that somebody took the plunge and now they're the Subaru owner. every single one of those car sales should be celebrated across all your social media platforms. But, you can lead them to water, but you can't make them drink. It was unfortunate.
You know who does a great job at that is, at least on my social media feed, people that I knew from like grade school and high school and all that, like that became realtors, like the mortgage people, like they always have these pictures staged with like, the big, the house, right? It's like you just sign whatever, you bought a new house and it's like the big like wooden key or metal key or whatever. And, I don't know, it almost looks a little corny, but it's great. It's great for social media and it's social proof. Like, hey, we had another deal close. Hey, we had another deal close, another happy client, whatever. It seems like the realtors and the mortgage people do well at that in terms of getting like the pictures with the actual customer. And then, sometimes maybe in front, it's less so in front of their house. It's more like in the office. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And people watching, we've got almost 50 people watching right now. Like, you guys should be saying, but Tony, why aren't you doing that right now? I don't know. Like we're having this conversation and I'm just realizing, shoot, there's like 6 people out there. They should all be, celebrating their victories, and we should have like photos and an selfie area set up with a selfie stick so that we go in there and we boom, hey, John, let's celebrate. What did you just do today? I got off the ground for the first time without help. Awesome. That goes out on social media. They share it. They tag us like, why am I not doing this stuff?
Yeah. No, it's a great reminder for my Concierge Pain Relief Instagram page. I think I only posted like 1 or 2 StimPod videos and I needed to do more of it. I had someone comment on one of the videos and she's in New Jersey, so she's probably not going to be our ideal patient, but she did say, she commented on the StimPod video that I was doing for a client's calf. And she said like, hey, does this work for fibromyalgia? I've had this, that, whatever, but I'm in New Jersey and I have state funded insurance. So you guys probably don't take it or whatever. It was just interesting to but she commented once or twice. Then she followed my account and like, it's probably not my ideal client, but she did. Oh, she also said like, I'll raise my hand to like volunteer or whatever for treatment. I'm thinking like, okay, what would Tony Maritato do? What he would do is say, hey, come on down. Let's get a social media consent form. Let's treat you for free as long as we can post a whole bunch of videos of your treatment on my page. And then the more of these StimPod videos that I post on social media, eventually we'll get more and more people that are reaching out that are like, hey, that looks like it's for me. I've tried this, that, nothing else has worked. And can I try it? And how much is it? And it's okay if my insurance doesn't pay. And then I'm like, that's music to my ears, because when someone calls in and they're like, do you take healthcare insurance, or if you don't take it, how much is it? How much do you guys charge? And like, that's my ideal client, someone who says that exactly. But anyway, Tony if you're listening now, if you're not watching, Tony just grabbed the box. Are we doing an unboxing live?
No, but I guess I could. I don't know if you can see it, BlazePod. So
all right.
Dr. Bo might still be here. I've never used BlazePod. So I just got this from them. Let's do it real quick.
You let me know. Are these small enough to do mobile visits, or are they kind of heavy and bulky, or you got to have a bag?
They're totally small enough to do mobile visits.
So each one of those is one BlazePod. There's 3.
Let's see. I'll tell you in just a second.
We are doing an unboxing live. There we go.
These are the discs that hold them in place. And then this is the actual devices. Give me just 1 minute. So here's the case that they come in. And then I think there's 4 or 6. I think there's 4 of them inside here. So you guys are going to see a ton of content coming out for this kind of stuff. I committed to doing YouTube Live, Instagram Live, and TikTok. Developing programming for BlazePods specifically for my kind of target demographic. But
real quick, are the BlazePod, is there research around that for, it's like coordination and reaction, and is there research around that to help folks with like, is there translation to like memory and like recall or longevity or like brain health? Like what's the main component? Why would someone, use that for folks like that have Parkinson's or something else?
That I don't know. I know there's, the Rocksteady program for Parkinson's that they also can use these for reactive time. And I've only known them in regards to athletics, speed, reaction time, change of direction. I've seen videos with geriatrics using them. I can imagine like even just the matching game, like Simon says, you play a pattern and then you follow that pattern. That's a great question. There's a ton of stuff like that. I don't have to get off. I thought I did, but I just realized who came in. So they're good.
All right. You're at the front desk right now. Is this the front desk?
Yeah.
We're doing this live show. Tony's got patients walking up to him, and as we're talking, I love it. It's great. And the phone's ringing. The office is buzzing.
It is. This is the reality. Yeah, Bo's here. Bo, do you have BlazePods? Do you use them at all? What are your thoughts? I'd love to get some feedback. The other thing that I came in wanting to discuss, I'm looking this up right now because I took a note for us. Oh, the Mr. Beast Feastables. Have you followed, like, Mr. Beast has exceeded $1 billion in value. Have you followed any of his new discussions or interviews?
Zero. I have no idea what's going on with him, but always fascinated for sure.
Yeah, super interesting. So Mr. Beast, biggest YouTuber, he signed I think it's $150 million deal with Amazon to create a game show. It was a really good show. My kids were watching it. I watched it. He talks about his products, and he is like, by far the chocolate bars are the most successful product that he's done. The hamburger deal was kind of a mess. It fell apart and some of the other things, but the chocolate bar, what I thought was so interesting about this was he said, I want to create a healthy chocolate bar. And his first chocolate bar, it was like lots of dark chocolate, very low sugar, really high quality ingredients. And it was a complete failure. Nobody wanted to buy it. Nobody liked it. So then he reiterated on the formula, more sugar, little lower, dark chocolate and other good things that he had. And he was like, the reality is I had to come to a decision where there was what I wanted to deliver and what the consumer wanted to purchase. And those two things were not the same. And I think that's what we see in physical therapy all the time. It's, I want this, but the consumer wants that. And so how do we find a compromise between that where my value exceeds what they're paying, their value exceeds what I'm receiving? But to see him come on and talk about that candidly and be like, look, I had no idea what I was doing. He also said he didn't know there was a packaging engineer. So when they first created the box and the packaging, when you open it and put it on the shelf, once you took the first bar out, all the other bars would fall and crack because the packaging was poorly designed. He didn't realize that when you get a bar made, you have to have these break points in the bar, like a Hershey's bar, or else everything just shatters like tempered glass. And I was just thinking to myself, like, how is this guy with so much resources and money, how is the company that produced the original bars not telling him this stuff? But this is the reality. He's dealing with the same challenges at, $1 billion valuation that we're dealing with at, a fraction of that valuation. I just love hearing those kinds of stories.
Yeah, I didn't hear all that, but I did notice that he's lost a lot of weight. He looks thinner and fitter than ever, right? So like, he must have did some type of, I don't know, change in his health. And is that why he wanted to produce some type of a healthy chocolate bar? Is that it?
That was part of it. He and another YouTuber went through like this challenge together. They hired personal trainers. They made a commitment, and he said he was working out no matter where he was on location. I know he also did some experimentation with fasting and with changes to his diet. And again, you look at somebody like that. They have the resources. They have the success. They need us to help guide them along the way. And do you really think it's going to matter if you're charging 150 or 300? Like, they're going to pay whatever they need to pay if they believe you can provide them with what they need. And I was just listening to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey was saying, you know, he's not a big spender, but he was like, look, at this point in my life, in my career, when I'm going to buy something, I'm going to buy the highest quality something. I'm not going to buy something cheap, poorly made, just because I can save a couple $100. I would rather pay more and have the expectation and the guarantees that it's the highest quality and it's going to last. Dave is the highest quality of physical therapy. So when somebody's going to come to Dave, they're not trying to save $20, $50. They're buying the highest quality that they can get because they just, the money is less important than the experience.
You want to hear something funny about an older individual, I think he's like 92 years old, that lives in Manhattan and lives on a street and lives in a neighborhood, I won't say where you have to have money, right? So his daughter called us earlier this week or last week, today's Thursday, earlier this week, spoke with his daughter. She loves everything about us. She's looking for someone who's like legit and licensed, and she got a referral from her nursing company. So the nursing company referred us, and long story short, this guy doesn't want himself, and he also doesn't even want his daughter to pay our rates. You know, and we quoted, you know, the $550 per visit on the weekends, $350 per visit Monday through Friday as the weekend price anchor. And so the daughter was, I kind of mentioned, I think the other day, like she was like, oh, that's kind of expensive, but I get it, blah, blah, blah. So the guy, the 92-year-old said, like, you know, he didn't want to pay because apparently they used to have like a masseuse for decades, many, many years ago that charged like $100 a visit. And the massage therapist decades ago, whatever, never raised her rates, which now that affects us somehow. And then I over text message, because I built a lot of rapport with this woman on the phone. Then over text message, she's telling me the update. And I said, you guys are using Privatus, this self-pay nursing and home health aid company. They're excellent. We were for patients to each other, and they are 100% self-pay. So I texted the daughter back and I said, but you guys are using Privatus, which is 100% self-pay. How does your father make sense of that? And she said, well, he hates that too, but he's unable to care for his wife, my mother, you know, her mother. And so that's where I guess he justifies it or whatever. So it is wild that, like, even though I'm in like a great city that has some crazy amount of net worth for a lot of people, they have a lot of resources, all that, some folks still don't want to pay out of pocket for something that I guess they don't want, like they need it, and some of them don't want it, but then we need to find the people that need it and want it. And it's just fascinating that, like, and you've said it before.
It's all psychology.
Yeah, you said it before. Like, if someone's 80, 90, whatever years old, like, what's another 5 or 10 grand at this point? Like, why wouldn't you spend it on your health and wellness? And I always remember you saying that. You've been saying it for the past couple of years, I think, at least. And I always think of that, and I chalk it up to, like, you know what? This type of person probably doesn't understand or care about their health and wellness, or at least that offering, that service or whatever, or they think like, oh, it should just be covered by Medicare if he's got Medicare or Medicaid or whatever. So I don't know, any takeaways or thoughts on that?
Yeah, the psychology of all of this is just so fascinating. You know, Steve Salinas said he introduced this concept, which is basically what you're saying, which is look at private pay skilled nursing, look at private pay in-home care, compared to what we're afraid to ask for. Yet people are doing it all the time. I want to do parting shots, and this will be my parting shots. One of the biggest barriers to somebody buying something is this fear of, am I making a mistake? Am I going to look stupid? Is somebody going to call me an idiot because I could have gotten it cheaper? An interesting thing, when I posted the Subaru pictures, never in a million years would I have imagined so many people coming out and basically calling me an idiot for buying a Subaru. Not in those words, but basically I was like, wow, this is some weird stuff going on. So I think it was Tuesday, I talked about anonymous buying. I was like, I'm going to explore this more. If people are so fearful that they're going to spend money and get criticized for spending the money, if I can allow them to spend the money anonymously, meaning not anonymous between me and the client, but anonymous with everybody else in their family, I think if they can just click a button to purchase and not be judged, if I can deliver that experience, I bet I get a lot more purchases. And so I'm going to try to explore
Purchase
this.
Of what? Purchase anything. Of what? I'm sorry.
Whatever I want to, if I want to sell the, Shockwave, I don't want somebody to be judged for buying something that somebody else in the family thinks is a waste of money. I need to figure this out. I'm trying to
let me just see if I understand you properly. This would be like a little checkbox on the checkout page when they pay, and it's basically you're reassuring them like, hey, this is between you and I, and well, I don't get it. Like
not really.
The spouse is going to tell the whole family like, oh, John went and paid $500 for the Softwave, and he's still complaining of his heel pain.
I think you said, like, weren't you in a situation where maybe an adult child was making the payments and said, don't tell mom or dad how much this costs?
Oh, yeah. Happens all the time. Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like, how do I make that an easier experience for somebody else to pay the money, or the person paying the money, just, letting them do it without other people judging them? I don't know. I haven't fleshed out the full idea yet, but I do think
what we've said, and I don't think it's fraud. I don't think it's fraud because we're not billing Medicare, but we've had sons and daughters that are 40, 50, 60 years old tell me, they're like, hey, me, or now my therapist, they're like, tell your therapist that if my mother or father asks about this service, the son or daughter that's 40, 50, 60 is paying for the 70, 80, 90, whatever year old. If they ask, can you just say that like insurance is covering it? Like the mother or father doesn't even want the son or daughter to be paying for it. And they are because of, family, and they want to help them, and they want a certain level of service and some certainty and reassurance, and they like our Google reviews or what, like a whole bunch of reasons. So do you have any issues with that? Like, I mean, so we could say like, yeah, like like this is all covered by, Medicare, Medicaid, or your insurance or whatever, like your AARP secondary, like whatever, but like, we're not actually billing them. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. So here's my parting shot. Think about yours. It's more about the psychology of the purchase than it is about the quality of the product. I've seen people who are so convinced in that a product is amazing when it's nothing special that they'll pay unreasonable amounts of money, and they feel good paying unreasonable amounts of money for it. The psychology of the purchase is more important really than the quality of the product, as long as it's a minimum standard. What you got?
Parting shot is, I don't think I can change any of their minds. Any of these people that have, hundreds of thousands, most of the time, millions of dollars, most likely in their portfolio and in their bank accounts or whatever. And they'll, some will still say, $350 per visit is too expensive, and I can find someone cheaper or whatever. And like, I don't think we can change their minds. I had a patient, I think last year, I was walking out. He's got some psychological issues, but he said it in front of his wife on purpose because he was, the wife set everything up, and there was some marital thing. But he said, I was like walking out, and he was like, he's like, I'm going to find I can find a therapist that can do it cheaper. And I'm like, okay, all right, Mr. Whatever. All right, take care. Have a great one. Like, go ahead. Like, because if I lose you, it's not going to make a material difference to me. Like, if you're going to make problems for me, like, I'm going to have my therapist treat you. I don't need to treat you. You think I need you. But anyway, it's wild. I don't think we can change any of their minds. So it's just like, hey, let's go back to marketing. Let's go back to physician referrals. Let's find more patients and clients that actually want what we have to offer, and they'll be willing to pay whatever we're charging for it. That's the parting shot.
All right. New ideas, new concepts, new ways of looking at things. 8:30 a.m. Tuesday and Thursday. Check out the Dave Kittle Show, learn Medicare billing, and PT Pintcast. Dave, I'll catch you next week.
Hey, it's Dave Kittle. Are you a healthcare business owner or physical therapy practice owner who is looking to figure out your succession plan or exit strategy? We might be able to help. And in fact, we may be interested in acquiring your practice. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. Shoot me an email at dave@conciergepainrelief.com. That's DAVE at CONCIERGE painrelief.com. Or you can call me at any time, 646-781-8884.